one of the things I love about backpacking with a helmet is you can set up almost anywhere to a degree. But you don't care if there's rocks or if there's roots or if the ground's not level. You just need two trees the right distance apart, and sometimes that can be a challenge. So what I have started doing is a little tip, is I always hike with my hiking poles, because when I don't have them, I don't know what to do with my hands, just like Will Ferrell. So what I do is I find two trees that I think are about the right distance apart, such as these. I will use my hiking poles and I will extend them with my arms, and I know that this distance is greater than 12 feet. And I have a 12-foot tarp. So if I have room on either end, then I have room for my guy lines. Often when I try to eyeball it, they're too close together. And so I use this tip to try to find two trees that are about the right distance. I hope that helps. And next I'll show you how I set up my tarp. So here's my tarp and my line, everything. This is the hammock gear standard tarp with doors. And so the way I have this rig to set up is I have my line, and I just keep that in a Ziploc bag, keep it safe. And then I have my tarp, and I will go into how I rig that next. So here I have unrolled my tarp, and so the way I store mine is this is the bottom of the tarp, and with my lines, which I will cover shortly. But up here at the top, I find the two ends, and on one end I have a Dutch fly, and on the other end I just have a loop of cord. And so now I will talk about how I attach the top of the tarp with my line and the trees. So here's my line, and so how I attach my tarp, on one end of my line I have a Dutch hook. And so I attach this Dutch hook to this loop on my tarp. I run around the tree, and then I bring the line and I bring it back through this hole in the top of my tarp. The line goes on the outside of my tarp, and it comes back. I go send it back through this hole toward the other tree. I loop this end around the tree and attach it back to my Dutch fly, which then I can quickly adjust the tarp. I will demonstrate that next. All right, so here I am. I have the two top parts of my tarp, and I find my Dutch hook. And I find the part that has the loop. I will get this Dutch hook, attach it. I run it through the hole, because it's easier to do now. I will run it around the tree and attach it back to this loop on my tarp. I will then extend my tarp out while I am undoing my cord. And then when I get down to this side, I will once again run the end of the cord through here. I will run it around the tree and then into my tarp fly. And what this enables me to do is by adjusting this cord, as you can see, I am able to adjust the distance of my tarp between the two trees from one end. And so when I am happy with the placement, I will get my cord and use the tarp, the Dutch fly, and I will loop it and tighten it. And so now, while this isn't high enough, I'll correct that. My tarp is now secured to the tree and is centered. As you can see, I have my little helper with me today. So now that my tarp is strung between the trees, it is now time to attach the tie-outs. I use these titanium shepherd hook stakes. I found that they suit my needs. And now I'll show you how I attach it to the tie-outs on the bottom of my tarp. At each tie out, I have some shot cord. I believe these are called tarp fleas, and a length of cord. And so what I do is I just put the stake down, insert it to where I want it, and then by pulling this, I can tighten my tarp, and then it's simply a loop back onto the flea. And it holds.
Wow.
All right, so for the sake of time, I have tied out all 4 corners of my tarp using the same method. I have these tarp tensioners with the Dutch fleas, and they're to the stake. Now what I do with the doors is I can do a couple of different things. When I'm sleeping, especially if it's rainy or weather, I put these mitten hooks in a length of shot cord. So often what I will do is they get attached to that end. This one gets attached to this end, and that closes up my doors nicely. But yet, if I need to get in and out of my hammock and I don't want to go underneath, the shot cord allows me to step through. And so often I will have one end like this, especially if the wind is coming from this direction. A lot of times while I have been set up, if I do not want my doors closed, I will use these same mitten hooks and I will clip it to these tie outs on the top of the tarp, and it will hold the door open, and I will do the same thing both sides. So here is how I set up my tarp. It's pretty quick and easy. It's very light, and I will show you the weight of everything I have in the next photo.